at vocabulary, and the next topic is health. There's a lot of vocabulary in this topic, and it's quite easy to get in a muddle with a lot of the words. So we're going to try and make sure we don't do that straight away by looking at treat, heal, another version of heal, and cure, because these three words are quite easy to mix up. So if you treat somebody, then you give them medicine in an attempt to help them, but it's not necessarily successful. Okay, I want you to compare treat somebody with cure somebody, or a cure, which means to treat somebody successfully, so that the person completely recovers. Yeah, so that the disease completely disappears. But treat somebody, it just means to give them medicine, and you may not be successful. Okay. A wound or injury can heal. So a wound or injury is some kind of cut that's open where you're bleeding from. And of course, these things do heal eventually. And so it means when the cut or wound or injury dries up, it seals up, it stops bleeding, of course. And over time, it becomes just another scar. Yeah. So you can, a wound or injury can heal, but then you've got a second understanding of heal, a second meaning, where we do use it for when a spiritual or religious person uses the supernatural to help you recover. Okay, so maybe if they pass their healing hands over you, or you might say they have healed you. And certainly in the Bible, we say that Jesus healed the sick. We don't say he treated the sick, and we don't say he cured the sick. We say he healed the sick. Okay. So, and then you've got cure, which we've already mentioned, which means to really help somebody so they completely recover. They make a full recovery. Okay. So I'm going to leave you to do this exercise on my website, and we'll keep going because there are other words that we need to perhaps explore just to make sure that you're all very clear about what they mean. So break a bone, the bone breaks. Fracture a bone, the bone cracks. Yeah, so a fracture is not as bad as a break. Well, it doesn't sound as bad to me. And I think, I think we all fracture our bones from time to time where the bones crack. I feel as if I have, in fact, in my foot, because I've got quite a bit of I've got a dull pain in my foot at the moment, in my heel, and I feel as if I might have fractured something there. And dislocate a bone, which means the bone moves out of position. Okay, so it's also very painful. None of them are very nice. And we've got another word here, which is very easy to confuse, which is aplaster and implaster. So if you break a bone, your arm or leg, might be put in plaster. And here the plaster is a covering, a hard case that protects the bone, the limb. So your arm might be in plaster, or your leg might be in plaster. And if your leg is in plaster, you're probably walking on crutches. Yeah, because you can't walk normally because the whole leg is in plaster. Yeah, this is a protective case when you break a bone. A plaster is very different because a plaster is a small sticky patch that you put on small cuts. Yeah, those small plasters that you put when you get a small cut. So a plaster is very different. And if you cut or burn yourself badly, then you need a bandage. So this isn't a plaster. This is the long piece of, thick cloth, or not thick, sorry, quite thin cloth actually, but you wrap it around the injury. Okay, yeah, maybe it's around the head, maybe it's around the arm. Okay, I hope that's all clear. Let's have a look. Who's here? Hi, Bernard, and hi. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pronounce that one. Clelia, is that your first name? Not sure, but hi, and hi, Vitaly. Let's get back to business. So after the assault, the victim was bruised and battered. There was a dull ache in her arms and a sharp pain in her ribs. So bruised and battered, if you're bruised, that's a bruise right there that you can see. My cursor's going over it. It's a bruise on her arm. So it's when there's discoloration because of some kind of force or trauma, some kind of blunt force trauma. Battered means beaten up. Yeah, and so she was bruised and battered. It means she'd been beaten. Well, maybe not beaten up, but she had been knocked around in some kind of way. She had been hit, maybe accidentally, maybe in a car accident. You can still be bruised and battered from a car accident. So it's a collocation, really, bruised and battered. And it means, yeah, bruised and beaten. And so there was a dull ache in her arms. I've just told you there's a dull pain in my heel. And this means a dull pain means a chronic and persistent pain. This is what this pain is in my heel. It's constant, and it's been for a few days now. I'm not sure where it comes from, but you should contrast dull pain with a sharp pain, because dull pain doesn't sound very local, whereas sharp sounds like localized, intense pain and possibly brief. Yeah, it doesn't sound like that long, never going pain like dull pain. Okay, a painful lump appeared on his neck. So this is some kind of protrusion that comes out from the neck. Sadly, I had a painful lump that appeared on my neck a couple of years ago, but it turned out to be nothing serious. It was just some kind of stone stuck in my saliva duct. But this guy made an appointment to see his GP. So you make an appointment with your doctor. Yeah, you make an appointment to see your doctor. Okay, it's what you need. It's that vocabulary you need if you're organizing a meeting with your doctor. Yeah, you make an appointment, and you make it with your GP or with your family doctor or with your local doctor. I think that's another one we often say. So hi, Yaron, hi, Romelia, and hi, David. So let's keep going then. Here we've got a very typical injury. There was a gaping wound. A gaping wound means a cut or injury which is open, yeah, which is left open. A long time ago, I cut my finger right here, and I was left with a gaping wound, and it had to be stitched up. Yeah, when you stitch injuries up, that means the doctor gives you stitches. Yeah, so he takes a needle and thread and connects the closes the wound with stitches. You will need stitches. You'll need this vocabulary if you have any kind of serious cut, really, because a serious cut is a gaping wound. Okay. And by the way, the temple is here. The left temple is here and the right temple is here, but the temple is here and here. And that's why we can see that vocabulary to the left temple. Okay, the next one, the adverse effects of this medicine include an itchy rash. So you can see the itchy rash here in the picture. And an itchy rash is when you have very often red marks on the skin. And these red marks, they're itchy. You need to scratch them. Yeah, it's not a good sign. It means you've got some kind of skin problem. And a rash is always on the skin. Yeah, and it's itchy very often on your arms, legs, but it can be anywhere, this itchy rash. It could be all over the body. Profuse sweating. Now, this word profuse is good for sweating and bleeding. Please use it. It collocates really well with sweating and bleeding. You can sweat profusely and you can bleed profusely as well. So this profuse, which means pouring forth, yeah, it's related to blood and sweat for that reason. Profuse sweating, profuse bleeding. So they're good words for medicine as well. And drowsiness, which is tiredness. It's feeling sleepy. Okay, if you are drowsy, you are feeling sleepy. So drowsiness is when you feel, when the medicine makes you feel sleepy. And a lot of medicines do, of course. Okay, and lastly, his trainers were excruciatingly painful. That's a good adverb adjective collocation, yeah? Excruciatingly painful means extremely painful. They rubbed against the back of his heels and his right foot became badly blistered. This always happened to me as a boy. Yeah, whenever I played football, I could never get a pair of football boots that seemed to go around my feet. And I think it's because I've got quite strange feet in terms of shape. And his foot became badly blistered, as did mine. In future, he ought to put a plaster on his heel. Well, I tried doing that, and that never helped. So I don't know why I've given that advice in here. I think it was just the only thing I could think of to practice that bit of vocabulary. But I remember people advising me to wear this plaster on my heel, and it never, ever helped. Yeah. So anyway, so that's the health vocabulary for today. Please go to my website a little bit later. In about an hour or so, I already have the exercise up for this vocabulary, and you'll be able to watch the video on that website as well. Okay, so thanks everybody for coming, and I hope to see you perhaps tomorrow for more vocabulary.